We're gonna break down the saga that is Meghan Markle's father and the media attention surrounding him and his health. There is a lot of confusing information, but this is what we know so far. So Amir just told me that he is undergoing surgery right now, and these are some of the details that we have. So he says he checked out of General Hospital in Mexico a few days ago, which he says is a charity hospital, but he feels he needs to go to another hospital soon because he's worried he might be on the verge of another heart attack. The coronary he suffered 6 days ago was his second, so he has been having some heart troubles. He's 73 years old. This all sort of comes on the heels of it being announced and substantiated that he would not be involved in the wedding. So for some time it was said, and it was confirmed by Buckingham Palace, that he would be walking Meghan Markle down the aisle when she is to marry Prince Harry in like 90 some hours very soon. And yet then it was called off because of some very bizarre events that have something to do with paparazzi. So obviously when it was announced that he was the father of the bride-to-be, there were some paparazzi. They were taking photos of him, and apparently he felt that the photos were unflattering or painting him in a negative light. So he hired paparazzi to take a photo of him, just him reading books on Great Britain. There were also photos of him getting fitted for his suit, but then it came out that
it was all staged.
It was all staged. There were photos of him going to an internet cafe and looking up photos of Harry and Meghan, and it was all very staged. But it was basically put out there to try and put his best foot forward.
He went to a party store in Mexico and paid one of the employees, was like a young employee, $15 to pretend like he was measuring him for a suit.
Right.
And he just took a tape measure out. It's very weird, awkward stuff.
Meghan's half-sibling went on the news and said that this was actually at her urging, that she was the culprit. She was the one that said her father should try and use the media to put his best foot forward and to showcase his better qualities. And so she is the one, and that this wasn't actually financially motivated. There was no monetary incentive. Now the Daily Mail is reporting that there was some sort of a monetary incentive, that there was a payout to the tune of like £100,000, some numbers around those.
It's a lot of money.
So it's sort of like, okay, well, what was happening with this money? It's all very strange too, because this is coming from Jezebel. So Good Morning America did a segment this morning about Meghan and Harry flipping their lids over Thomas's decision to back out of the wedding, but have since deleted all the tweets and videos of this piece from the internet. So basically, there's an entity that rhymes with Schmuckingham Chalice, this is what Jezebel is saying, that perhaps got a little mad at Good Morning America for running that. And so there's been a lot of weird sort of cover-ups. Now, the Kensington Palace spokesman has said this is a deeply personal moment for Ms. Markle. In the days before her wedding, she and Prince Harry ask again for understanding and respect to be extended to Mr. Markle in this difficult situation, which I think is absolutely correct. Yeah. I mean, he was probably negligibly involved in his daughter's courting of Harry and whatever their relationship was. He's 73, he's already had some heart problems, and now it's just been like totally compounded by the fact that there's all this media attention and scrutiny put on him.
I don't think anyone can prepare themselves for their daughter to end up marrying an actual prince, you know? Like how often does that happen?
Is it weird, some of the paparazzi behavior? Yeah, of course
but that's
it's
what
weird.
the paparazzi does, right? Like they prey on people exactly like Meghan Markle's father. And they offer him the money, and they probably spin it away like, yeah, you're not doing anything wrong, do this is good for your image, it's gonna help your daughter out. And he doesn't know, like this isn't the life like he's ever prepared for. And this happened, and unfortunately, like now, I don't know like how valid his health issues are right now, if he actually is having surgery right now or not. But whatever it is, like sure, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. He's like an older guy, and I kind of sympathize with him.
I mean, I think this would put an immense amount of stress on anybody. Now think about if you already had a prior heart condition, what that would do as well. But either way, even if he's just hiding out because he just wants to hide out, he doesn't want to be in the eye.
Yeah, because this whole situation got out of hand.
Yeah, so be it. I think that like that's absolutely his right. This is a crazy situation to be thrown into that he most certainly didn't ask for. Are things suspicious? Sure, but whatever, it's not your life, it's his. So just a little bit of an update. Meghan's mom, Doria Ragland, is now the leading candidate to give her daughter away, walking her down the aisle. But then some people are also speculating that she might just walk herself down the aisle because she's a badass lady who don't need no man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's it's a frustrating situation. I'm sure for him and for her. Like the only thing that they would probably want is for this to just go away and just there to be no drama. But unfortunately, with like royal weddings and everything, the world around you tries to make it into drama.
Well, also usually when we've seen royal weddings, they've come from at least similar sort of families. Even when we're talking about Kate Middleton, she was already familiar with the royal family and with that culture, and she was not poor. Like she was from like an upper class family, and I think that we're sort of seeing that juxtaposition of having an American family figure out how they navigate a royal wedding, and that's immense to put on somebody, and especially someone who's sort of like aged out of social media and how this reads. So when he's like working out to show himself getting in shape, and the paparazzi he's like hired paparazzi to film it, I'm sure in his head he's like, oh yeah, this will like, it's just like the old tabloids back in the day. He doesn't know that now they're like trolls and stuff online that are just out there to tear you down and make you feel bad. And
have you been following the whole wedding?
No.
Yeah.
This is the most I've followed. I'm curious
to see like America versus the UK, how big this story. I'm sure it's very big in the UK.
Well, all the coverage that I was reading on this, outside of from Jezebel and then from People, was from UK sources. So all the video coverage that I'd seen of like interviews with Meghan Markle's half-sister was from, and like the Daily Mail UK, like a lot of the sources were from the UK. Just because I think naturally there's going to be more of an interest. It's not our royal family.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that Americans do have this interest in it, and I've talked about this with some of my friends before. Like all the Americans that will buy like little tea sets for like being like, this is the actual. You know, you can
really.
Well, yeah. Like you can be like, this is like all English people. They all have these commemorative tea sets. It's almost required. Like this is really the royal taste. And then you go over to like your aunt's place and you're like, oh my gosh, like Jody, this is insane.
Yeah.
Nobody else in England has all these.
You have a lot of friends in the UK, right?
Yeah, most of my friends from growing up moved to London.
Have you talked to them ever about?
They're excited.
The royals?
Yeah, I mean they're definitely, and like they definitely have like a sentimental and like an important value, of course, on like the royal family that is different than I think any sort of like higher. I mean, I think you could say it's
the
a little
closest
bit,
that you would probably
like
get
the
with
first family, kind of.
Yeah,
but
like I don't know,
even.
like the Bush family or the Clinton family. They all have long legacies.
I would say like the Kennedys.
The Kennedys.
The Kennedys were probably the closest that we had to like a royal family and like Camelot and this life of of aspiration and political greatness. I guess was probably the closest that we ever had, and I think that's sort of why the Kennedys have reached that echelon in our collective minds when we think of political families in the United States. And then and the UK and England, they just sort of have that a little bit more consistently. They have a consistent royal family.
One of the more funny tabloid bits that I keep seeing is that like this whole angle that the Queen is very upset about the situation.
Yeah, I don't think
I think like media likes to paint the Queen as just being like a very cold-hearted person, which
I think our media
when I think about it, I have no idea what kind of person the Queen is. She is such a woman of mystery to me.
She has corgis.
I don't even know what her voice sounds like. Can you've heard her voice?
I have.
I've only seen her face.
There's this really great documentary. It's called The Crown. You should all watch it.
Wait, it's a documentary? It's a show.
It's a show.